It was still dark over Lakeland, Florida, when the morning of September 4, 1981, began like any other. For most families, it was another quiet start, but inside a small apartment on Southeast 33rd Street, everything was about to break. Linda Slaten, a 31-year-old single mother, had spent the previous evening with her two boys, Jeff and Timmy. They watched TV. They talked about school. It was just a normal night, the kind that makes what happened next feel even more unreal. That morning, Jeff walked down the hallway to wake his mother and stopped cold at her bedroom door. Linda was lying on the bed, but she wasn't sleeping. Something was terribly wrong, and Jeff, only 15 years old, knew it instantly. He screamed for help. Neighbors came running, and soon police filled the small apartment. There were signs of a violent struggle, and yet there was no forced entry, no broken windows, no screaming heard in the night. It was as if the killer had slipped in and out of the home like a ghost. Before we continue, help the channel subscribe and leave your like. Detectives canvassed the area. They questioned neighbors. They talked to Linda's ex-partner, co-workers, and acquaintances, but the case refused to cooperate. The apartment complex had a reputation. People came and went. Doors stayed unlocked, but nothing tied any resident to the crime. The investigation stalled, and with each passing day, the leads grew colder. Linda's boys were left in shock, their childhoods shattered. Jeff couldn't shake the image of what he had seen. Timmy withdrew into himself, unable to understand how something like this could happen while he slept down the hall. Years passed. Lakeland changed. New families moved in. New crimes happened. And the murder of Linda Slaten slowly drifted into the background, remembered only by the people it destroyed. But the case file remained. And inside it was a piece of evidence waiting for technology that didn't exist in 1981. In the early 2000s, detectives revisited the old samples collected from Linda's body. DNA analysis had advanced dramatically, and now they had a chance. They tested the evidence, and the result came back with a name that would shake the Slaten brothers to their core. Joseph Joe Mills, not a stranger, not a distant criminal, but a man they saw almost every day of their childhood, their school crossing guard. The man who smiled at them, waved at them, protected them as they crossed the street, was the same man who murdered their mother. Detectives brought Mills in for questioning. The DNA match was ironclad. There was no room for doubt. When confronted, Mills finally confessed. He had climbed into Linda's home through her bedroom window. He attacked her, he killed her, and then walked away, returning to his daily routine. While two boys he had just orphaned crossed the street under his watch. For decades after the crime, Jeff and Timmy finally had a name, a face, a truth. But closure is complicated. Justice doesn't bring back the years stolen. It doesn't erase nightmares or rebuild childhoods. It only gives shape to the darkness. Yet for the Slaten family, even that was something. Today, Linda's memory lives through her sons, through the investigators who refused to forget her, and through every person who hears her story and refuses to let it fade. Cold cases aren't just puzzles. They're lives frozen in time, waiting for someone to pull them back into the light. Thank you for watching Cold Case 5 Minutes. Subscribe and leave your like. Stay curious, and remember, every mystery deserves to be remembered.